G'day there guys, it's your Aussie hubby Markee, back at it again with another episode of r/Am I the A-hole? Now if you love me like I love you, then you know what to do. I want you to tackle that like button like Steve Irwin would tackle a bloody crocodile. Maybe even chuck an Aussie flag down in the comments. With that said, now I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good content. Posted by user Serena Chance, titled, Am I the a-hole for not sending my dog to boarding while my boyfriend's mother visits? Background. I adopted my dog Tank when I was 20. He had minor issues, leash walking and prey drive. Issues I fixed. This dog is a saint, never bit anyone or shown aggression. He's a very well-trained dog. He is now 5 years and 60 pounds. Now, my boyfriend, 24 male, and I, 24 female, live in an apartment with my dog. We moved in together last year, but we've been dating for 4 years. In December, my boyfriend's mum invited herself to come visit in July, provided everything is good by then. Now, when she decided this, we were under the impression that she would stay at a hotel or something. We live in a small, really small, 2-bedroom apartment, but we use the second room as a shared office space. But whatever, we'll deal. We can throw in a bed and move the room around. But 3 weeks ago, she was talking to my boyfriend, saying she would be staying for 2 weeks because she wanted to sightsee. We live in a small city, and because she really wanted to be with us. I could tell he was happy about this because he misses her, and he doesn't get to see her a lot because we live far away from her. I wasn't going to argue with it. I know it makes him happy. But then she called again last week, and she told my boyfriend she wouldn't feel comfortable if Tank was in the apartment with her because he's big and you can't trust dogs like that. She said she didn't feel comfortable with his size or breed. She said that he could be unpredictable because I got him at a yearish old and don't know about his past. She asked my boyfriend if he would have my dog boarded the whole time while she was here. He brought it up 3 days ago and I immediately said no. He asked me if I would think about it, and I said no again. Now he's angry with me. I'm fine with her staying with us, fine with her staying for 2 weeks, fine with having to move our office around and buy a bed to accommodate her. I'm fine with her staying here by herself while we're at work. I'm fine with all of that. But I draw the line at leaving Tank at a boarding facility for 2 weeks straight. I've never done something like that with him. I don't want to risk anything. I even looked into it, just at the pricing, and it's too expensive. This is his home. He deserves to stay here. I've never had a problem with her before, but this is ridiculous. She's never met Tank in person before, but she gets a lot of pictures and videos of him. And when we video chat with her, sometimes she joins in. She's never said anything about her concerns before. I feel like she's judging him before she even meets him. He isn't a bad dog, but she doesn't want him at the apartment while he's there at all. Am I the a-hole because I won't board Tank while she visits? My personal judgment is not the a-hole. That dog is like another family member in the house, and she doesn't get to dictate, hey, I want this kid out of my house. This dog is like a kid to me. Send him to a baby shop down the road. They can deal with him for 2 weeks. I don't want your kid in my house. It's like, that's not okay. You can't put that on someone. And the husband is so spineless for not sticking up for the wife. He's agreeing with the mother. Baby man, baby boy, get out of here, baby boy. Not the a-hole. She can stay at a hotel. He's not a book you can pick up and put down at your leisure. He's a living, breathing animal who needs his routine, comfort, and recognizable surroundings. Dog boarding at a decent place is so expensive anyway. Basically the cost of a human hotel. No way the OP should shoulder those costs. So boyfriend can pay for mum's hotel, or mum can. Someone needs to dish out that amount. Not the a-hole. Self-invited guests do not get to dictate the conditions of their stay. Your boyfriend should have your back on this. Reminder, the point of dating is not to do whatever it takes to hold on to your significant other or make them happy. It is to be yourself, stand by your values, and see if the two of you are compatible and whether either is a keeper. Do not back down on this. OP says, I've made myself perfectly clear to him. Tank stays in the apartment. I'm not sending him somewhere else so that she can be more comfortable here. She decided to come here, and I'm not mad about that. I'm happy she's visiting. My boyfriend does not get to see her that often because she lives so far away. He's happy she's coming, and I won't take that away from him. But when she says she was coming to visit, we honestly were expecting her to stay in a hotel. We've been dating for 4 years, and we honestly don't have any real issues. This is the first real thing that's come up. But like it or not, I made a commitment to Tank when I adopted him, and I'm not about to drop him off at a stranger's place for 2 weeks. Mother-in-law, you're welcome to stay whenever you wish, but this is Tank's home, and his presence is a condition of you staying with us. If that makes you uncomfortable, you are more than welcome to find a hotel. Thank you, dusty old bones. Very cool. Not the a-hole. You are being accommodating as it is. To be frank, your boyfriend's mother is rude. You don't make demands when you're a guest in someone's home. You make demands of hotels. I would suggest that if she doesn't like Tank, then she should book herself into one. Update. Am I the a-hole for not sending my dog to boarding while my boyfriend's mother visits? After a week of angry silence, waiting for each other to bring this up, I bypassed my boyfriend and went to his mum. I reached out, talked about her feelings for Tank. It started out pleasant. Then I told her that boyfriend said he wanted my dog boarded, and I asked why she didn't feel comfortable with Tank. Direct quote, "You don't know what his past is. He's big and unpredictable, and I don't want to be staying with that. It would be different if you knew, but you don't. I just don't feel comfortable sharing a space with a dog that may attack me for going pee in the middle of the night or grabbing a cup of water." I was angry, and I didn't want to scream and make her upset. So I very politely said, if you don't feel comfortable living with Tank for 2 weeks, even though your own son has been since August, you can stay in a hotel when you visit. And I hung up on her. Boyfriend got home a few hours later and was angry because I talked to her, made her upset, and hung up on her. Now she thinks I hate her, and he said I wasn't being fair to her. I asked why he wanted me to board Tank so badly. Boyfriend knows he wouldn't attack her or do anything aggressive towards her. And all he had to say was boiled down to, "Can you just do it to make this whole thing easier? He's a dog." We argued, at some point in circles, how Tank is a dog. He doesn't get rights in the apartment, and things got worse when I asked what would happen in the future if we were still together, and she decided to visit when we were living in a house. Kinda unbelievable. Millennials owning a home? Ha, laughable. Stop buying avocado, you idiots. You can't afford a house now. He said that would be different because we could put him in another room or something. So, my dog has to be penalized for living in our home with us when your mum visits? I said it on my last post and I'll say it again. When I adopted Tank, I took on responsibility of taking care of him, making him my first priority, treating him with respect as he is a living creature. I see him as I would a child. I do the same things for him as someone does for a child. He is family, 4 paws or not. I made a clear choice that night. While his mother may still be visiting whenever it is safe to do so, it won't be in this apartment. We came a truth. This and other things we talked about are big and can't be ignored. We realized we don't want the same things, and that's not something you can compromise on. So this all started with what I thought would eventually be my future mother-in-law wanting me to board my dog, and ended up with me and boyfriend mutually breaking up after 4 years of dating. We understand in the long run that it wouldn't have worked out. Thank you, Reddit, for making me realize we needed to have this conversation. It was important, and I'm glad it was done now and not later down the road. You handled that like a boss. Feel proud of yourself. Seconded. This was handled beautifully. You are an excellent fur parent, and you've dealt with this difficult situation incredibly well. Tank is really lucky to have you. I adopted a dog last week. My first adoption, career change service dog, and I've spent way too much time worrying about how new doggo is fitting into the pack and how it's affecting them. They're much older, and it's a change of routine. And OP was basically asked to put the dog in storage, and BR agreed with her. Yeah, they aren't on the same page. Agreed. Anyone who would rather be prejudiced against a dog like that and not even treat them like a living, breathing creature, who also can have emotions and other traits shared with humans, clearly doesn't care about them in the slightest. There's a very good reason why dogs are man's best friend. Wow, this is a crazy story, but I think you did the right thing. Don't hate me, but I really don't like dogs. My friends have a dog, and when I go there, I expect to have to deal with the dog. That's just a part of visiting. Keeping the dog off me or in another room if he gets too rowdy is reasonable, although I've really not had issues. The dog is pretty okay. Asking them to remove the dog while I am a guest in their home is not reasonable. It's not hard. I wouldn't visit if I couldn't handle a member of their household. Could you please just leave your child with a sitter when I come? I don't want to be around sticky fingers or those high-pitched voices. Ew, gross. Posted by user Real Estate Reptile, titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to sell my rental properties at my fiancé's request? Throwaway because, 2 years ago, I, 36 male, proposed to my fiancée, 30 female, and our wedding is going to be this coming summer. When we met, we both owned properties. She owned a pretty typical luxury townhouse, and I owned 2 properties in the inner city. We both agreed that when it was time to cohabitate, we'd live in her condo. I own an old 2-up, 2-down duplex in a neighborhood that butts right up against an old industrial area, which I was living in until we moved together. And on the next block, I also own a 4,000 square foot concrete block industrial building. I got them as a part of a screaming package deal about 12 years ago when you couldn't give property away in that neighborhood. I now rent the duplex to a couple of Hispanic families, and God, I hope they never leave me. Best renters ever. And I rent half of the factory building to a guy who does HVAC and the other half to some microbrewery hipsters. The powers of gentrification have been at work in this hood for about half the time I owned these places, and I'm making boku bucks on these rentals. I could lose my job tomorrow and not even blink. My fiancé does not see it this way. Ever since we moved in together, she's been pestering me to sell the places. It's been ramping up the closer we get to the wedding. I keep telling her that as long as I own these places, it's practically guaranteed third source of income and would be invaluable if either of us hit a rough patch job-wise. She doesn't see it that way though. All she sees is a potential pile of liquid cash that can go towards wedding, honeymoon, and upgrades to the living situation. We had the biggest blow-up yet about it last Saturday, and I kind of lost it. I'm a saver and she's a spender, and I said that to her in far less pleasant terms, and also mentioned the amount of credit card debt she has, and since then, things have been pretty frosty. Am I the a-hole for refusing to sell my second income? Don't know why that's a question. You're a saver and you can absolutely see where you're at. I absolutely wouldn't be surprised if he signed a prenup with this one and got her to sign a prenup because he knows what his wife is like, and I'm surprised that he's left that out of the post at all. OP says in the comments, I see some people asking about the amounts and what it would be spent on. I won't go into exact details, but the amount is a lot. A lot more than I'll probably ever see in one lump sum in my lifetime again. The upgrades to the living stitch would most likely be her selling her condo too, and her finding the biggest house she can find at the ragged edge of what we can afford, and us moving there, combining finances. I'm perfectly happy with her 3-bedroom townhouse. Even if we have kids, it's more than enough room in my opinion. Since we've moved together, she's been handling the mortgage, and I've been paying most of the day-to-day bills. Between her townhouse, her Audi, and her credit cards, she's got a lot of debt. But she has a great career and isn't having trouble paying down. But she doesn't save much of what's left. If you're comfortable owning the properties, don't sell. They are security. It sounds like your fiancé wants to spend your money. She isn't planning on ending her debt so much as buying more crap. You seriously need to rethink this engagement and plan on a prenup, no refusals, if you go through with this. You have been very thoughtful and wise about your financial planning. No matter how much your fiancé makes, she has no security at all, and she doesn't have a plan, except for liquidating your assets to afford her future spending. Edit, I personally would not marry someone who hasn't worked on paying down their debt the whole time I've known him. That would be my red flag. Your mileage may vary. OP says, I will be having a sit down with her this coming weekend. We're both off work and all of you are right. This needs to be hashed out more. Your situation is pretty common on this sub. You have some available wealth and your partner is both entitled and has poor personal finance skills. Yikes on the credit card debt. I recommend a quick perusal of the r/personal finance prime directive before you talk with your partner, and there's a link. I wish you the best and please keep us updated with the outcome. Not the a-hole. When you marry someone, there are lots of things that you have to let go and not start World War III over them. You just acquiesce and move on. This is not one of them. It's perfectly fine to be firm, to tell your fiancé that you have seriously considered what she is asking and you have made a final decision not to sell and you won't be discussing this anymore. And if she continues bringing it up, you will seriously question her motivation and financial responsibility prior to this marriage. If you need to put the wedding on hold for a bit while you hash this out, that is perfectly fine. The big 3 disagreements that destroy marriages are disagreements on children, religion, and finances. You are absolutely arguing about a huge, important, potentially destructive issue here. I've already made it extremely clear that the issue is non-negotiable. As long as I'm alive, able, and willing here, these properties are staying with me. Yeah, probably it's time to start delaying the wedding until you're confident she understands and accepts this. She doesn't have to be happy about it, but she does need to accept it. It's not an ultimatum. She may accuse you of issuing one, but it is an important issue that must be put to rest before you are married. And here's a nice one. There was a comment deleted by user, but I like OP's reply. I don't know what the user was saying. OP says, 1. Yeah, I lucked out big time with this initial purchase. 2. I do my own mechanical and remodel work. I farm out envelope stuff. Roofing, windows, siding, and flooring. 3. She has way more debt. I pay the non-mortgage household bills, but she insists on the mortgage herself, which is in addition to her student, CC, and car debts. 4. We've been planning as if I'm not selling anything. What she wants is for me to cash out so things can be changed for the more extravagant for the wedding and after, which I dislike immensely. Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to sell my rental properties at my fiancé's request? So the conversation didn't happen until the weekend of the 14th of March. Life got in the way. It started fine, but it quickly went south and ended in a big fight that degenerated into a lot of petty crap slinging by the end. She accused me of not trusting her, which is fair. I pointed out that her habits made it basically impossible to trust her with money anyway. Probably not my proudest moment. But I did make it clear that in no uncertain terms that the properties are staying in the limited liability company and I won't sell them, and that the financial decisions regarding them would be mine alone. I may have also had a few choice words about the princess for a day wedding that she wanted. After a couple of weeks of avoiding each other and not talking, and me sleeping in the basement of the townhouse, I said I wanted to hit the pause button and leave for a while. She was upset but didn't say much. I loaded up my things and went to my parents' house and told them what happened. They told me I could stay as long as I needed. Somewhere near the end of April, I got a call from her dad out of the blue. What the hell? Demanding to know what was going on and why I'd broken things off. I tried to explain what had been going on, but he was the angry dad of an upset young woman, and I don't think much got through. That call ended with him calling me a scumbag and hanging up on me. I've only had a few properly long-term relationships end in my lifetime, but that's the first time I've had an angry father yell at me about one. There's been no contact since. I'm sad that just over 4 years of my life with someone went up in smoke like this, but that's the way she goes, I guess. My parents didn't seem very surprised when I showed up, so maybe I really was the last one to know what was going on, like so many Redditors were pointing out. For some good news, and also the thing that reminded me to update my Reddit post, is that yesterday I bought another house, one for me to live in. A tiny little brick post-war brick ranch in an old subdivision about 20 minutes away from my rentals. It needs work, but I'm looking forward to having a project to take my mind off things. It's gonna be strange living on my own again, but I think I'll manage. Jesus, if my new partner and spouse-to-be had basically a third income, I would be high-fiving every fricker I met about how lucky we were. Damn, dude. Good job getting out of that one. It must be really hard seeing 4 years disappear, but sometimes we don't see the real person until it's too late. Yeah, but princess for a day. Wedding. Given a choice between princess for a day or princess for a lifetime, it turned out to be no princess at all. Myself, I'd even take slightly less worried about money for a lifetime over any length of princessing. Why do people always call it 4 years lost? The purpose of life is to live a happy, fulfilled life. The years we live are not some build-up to some grand climax. 4 years living with a girlfriend where everyone is still nice and thoughtful to each other is life well spent. I would take it any day to a loveless, joyless married life filled with either fights or cold shoulders, ending in a messy, bitter divorce. That I would consider 4 years wasted. It can be 4 years wasted if you see it as 4 less years with someone you end up spending the rest of your life with. Obviously not how meeting people and partners actually works, but emotionally, it can feel like time was taken away from being spent with the one. That's a good point. I like that one. Yeah, good choice, dude. I could not imagine putting up with someone like that. I like to save and spend as little as possible. I also can't get selling all the properties just to turn around and waste it all for a huge wedding or honeymoon. Also, since the comments on the other post are locked, I'll ask here. Can someone please explain to me when them being a landlord makes you an a-hole? I could get if OP was a crappy landlord, but some of the comments were just calling him an a-hole for just renting out properties. Probably because we're all trapped renting because wealth, when managed properly, tends to grow exponentially and is hoarded in families through generations. So all the property is owned by a small percentage of people like OP who can afford to live off passive income alone, while the rest of us who weren't born lucky barely cover ever-increasing rent cost with stagnant wages and rapid inflation, slowly rising while we struggle not to drown in a river of figurative crap that is our lives, or something like that. Edit, this has upset a bunch of people. Save you whining, I really don't give a crap. Posted by user Didiop, titled, Am I the a-hole for not wanting to get rid of my gang tattoos for the sake of my daughter? I spent 7 years in prison and I got out 3 years ago. I'm now 30. I was a criminal and a horrible person. I did a lot of screwed up stuff, most of it related to my gang. I currently have a 2-year-old daughter, Mia. Me and the mum are not married, but we share custody of Mia. When Mia was born, I was already halfway out the door of the gang, and the birth of Mia gave me the push I needed. I moved away with Mia and her mum, and we tried our best to start over. I love Mia with all my heart. She saved my life. I have a lot of gang-related tattoos, and I do mean a lot. They are pretty predominantly displayed on me and are noticeable. Mia's mother has been after me to get rid of them or cover them up with other tattoos. The thing is, I don't want to do that. It's not that I'm proud of them or like them, it's that they remind me of how far I've come and I don't want to forget it. I don't want to forget what happened. I don't think I should get to just forget it like that. I eventually broke down and told her this after she asked me again yesterday about it. She got super upset with me and said that I needed to do it for the sake of our daughter, and that if I didn't, then that meant I missed the life. She also said that I was putting my daughter in danger because somebody could recognize my tattoos and cause trouble for me. I told her I haven't been in that life for years, and that it's unfair for her to say that as she knows that I love Mia. I'm honestly conflicted. I've gone back and forth about what to do with my tattoos, and I thought that I had reached a reasonable decision. Am I the a-hole? So for me, this is an issue that was pressed so hard back at home. Just because someone has tattoos on their body, it does not make them a bad person, and you cannot judge them for their decisions. Bike gangs are a huge thing back in Australia, and absolutely I do not judge anyone or feel that they're lower than me just because of those tattoos. In this situation, I don't think that OP is the a-hole. I think that the wife is being very judgmental of his past, and that it's not always going to put you in danger. It's obvious she fell in love with the person that this man is, or she created this bond with this man because of the state he was in initially. Changing that will change your perception of this person, and it's not always going to be for the better. You're the a-hole, but only gently though. You don't need your tattoos to remember. You don't need anything to remember how far you've come. If anything, your daughter could be that for you, letting you know how far you've come and how far she is going to go. I know you want to keep them as a memory, but it's okay to let them go now. Her mother is right in that it could be dangerous. Not just gangs trying to start trouble, but you could be unnecessarily harassed by police due to the tattoos as well. You sound like a wonderful dad, and I hope everything goes well. Thanks. What if, instead of keeping them, you covered them with something that's more representative of who you are now? Then when you look at them, you are reminded of what was there, and the amazing changes you've made in your life. Good luck with everything. I agree, that's also a very good idea there. Info. Is she right? Could the tattoos cause trouble for your daughter if recognized? I'm pretty sure she's right. It's a prime reason a lot of ex-gang members get tats removed, plus what they represent. OP can never feel safe while he is visibly branded, and I do wonder if that is why he's resistant to removing and covering them. He may not feel that he deserves to feel safe, but his child does. OP says, "We no longer live in the city where most of my stuff went down. I haven't been involved in anything shady since I got out, and they've never been a problem where we live right now." You're the a-hole, but I get where you're coming from. You don't need a physical reminder of your past. That past landed you in prison, and your daughter's mother has a point in regards to your tattoos potentially causing problems for you in the future. If it's truly in your past, let it go and cover them up. I think your reasoning is good, and it's your right to decide, so I vote no one's the a-hole here. But you should be aware that it's a pretty common response for normal, non-criminal people to be revolted when they see people with gang tattoos like you, and you're always going to be Mia's father, the gangbanger, that the other parents don't trust. Yes, however, and I don't mean to sound full of myself, I have done a pretty good job of turning my life around. That's something you can be proud of, but the perception of your parents does matter. If they can see your tattoos, then they will make assumptions that include the idea that you're still involved with gang activity. And it won't matter whether you're right or wrong. It will impact your daughter's life if she gets to be known as the daughter of a gangbanger. Update. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to get rid of my gang tattoos for the sake of my daughter? I listened to what everyone told me, and one person in particular who suggested that I get Mia to draw something to cover up some of my tattoos. Well, I got her to do that, and I covered up some of the most significant ones with her drawings. They all turned out beautifully, and I'm so grateful for the idea. I'm working on incorporating my remaining tattoos into a new design, as other people also suggested. I'm also trying to work through the existing feelings I have regarding my old gang. Mia's mother has been very supportive regarding all of this, and our relationship has been a work in progress too. It's been a work in progress, but seeing my tattoos turn into something that I love has been a very cathartic experience. Thanks all. I love that I'm seeing an a-hole judgment actually end up well. Receiving the judgment of a-hole didn't close your mind, it opened it. Good for you. Congratulations, man. Gang-related prisoners have an 83% 5-year recidivism rate compared to 45% or so for the general public. You've done something very difficult, and you should be proud of that. Sending good feelings your way. Thank you. Hoping I can also get back to school at some point. Reach out to the people and organizations and ask for help, because you are the exact person who they want to help. Someone who wants to do work to improve their own life. I know you probably don't believe me, but you are. Or that you're worthy of help, but you are more than worthy. You are the type of person that anyone you contact for help will go out of their way to help. Because again, they want to work with people like you who want to do better. You are the exact type of person they want into a helping profession to help. Thank you so much. I don't feel like I deserve the help, but that's another thing I have to work on. If you want the help, you deserve it. G'day there guys, Outro Markee here. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Now with that said, we have some special mentions. Everyone that signed up for my Patreon, everyone that's a channel member, you guys all know who you are. I'm going to start putting you on screen in the near future. Sorry, I'm very lazy, but I do love each and every one of you, and you all know that. If you want to join, there is links down in the description below. If you want to be a channel member, there's a join button next to subscribe. It helps me out immensely. Also, I have a second channel that does memes. It's called Markee 2. It should be on screen here now. If you like memes and you want to laugh with me, it's some not so politically correct content all the time. Hope you enjoy it. Click on the screen, subscribe, and enjoy the memes. That's all I have for today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.